Back when the Wii U was botching it to the high heavens, the 3DS got all the credit in the world for keeping the above-average sized den afloat. And don't get me wrong, Nintendo's final dedicated handheld definitely deserves most of the credit for getting the company through a really rough period, but I think the contributions of the Amiibo during this time are often overlooked, because while some jabronis were claiming that Nintendo was a sinking ship, these tiny collectibles were selling out the ass all over the world. Obviously, the popularity of Amiibos isn't quite what it used to be, but there's still a pretty decent following, and I'd imagine that these things aren't very difficult for Nintendo to make, but for whatever reason, it feels like they're slowly being phased out in favor of, well, nothing, I guess. And you know what? I think that's a shame, because aside from being nice little collectibles, they also serve as a way to add content to video games by scanning them, which I think's pretty great just as long as these perks are always cosmetic. In fact, if you ask me, I actually think this is a far better alternative to DLC that's available for purchase on the day games come out. Why is that, you ask? Well, sit back in your Step Pepper's throne, press the subscribe button if you haven't already, and allow me, the world's largest man, CameronAllOneWord, to tell you why Amiibos are better than DLC, and why Nintendo should keep cranking them out. Alright, so right off the bat, I know that some people are probably already saying that even extra content that's purely cosmetic should just be included on physical media on day one, rather than having to be bought separately, regardless of whether it's through an Amiibo or paid DLC, and I totally understand that logic, but I'm just saying that if you're gonna charge for bonus content, then I think it's better to have a physical collectible to show for my digital purchases all. And I don't know about you, but I think it's kinda awesome to start playing a new Nintendo game and scanning all my Amiibos to see what kinds of useless bonuses I can get from them. Man, I'm lucky enough to have gotten most of my Amiibos digging through Amazon return bins for $5, and the main reason I've been picking them up is just for the sake of collecting them. However, after seeing the potential they had for extra content, I kinda figured that this is where the future was headed, and I thought it was pretty cool. But now that the Switch is tearing all kinds of ass, it seems like Amiibos have outlived their usefulness in the eyes of Nintendo, and I just can't help but feel like that's such a missed opportunity. I mean, I know the DLC should mainly be reserved for actual content that can enhance games at a later date, rather than being outfits and things of that nature that should probably just be included in the cartridges right off the bat. But even so, I still feel like Amiibos could have been a better alternative to just buying digital content. I mean, I know if DLC could just be unlocked using Amiibos, and people would probably pass the same ones around and avoid paying anything at all. And some people probably only want the digital content without having all these figures lying around only to be stepped on at some point. But I'm not saying that extra content or DLC should only be attainable through Amiibos. I just think it'd be a pretty cool bonus option to have something physical to show for your digital content. I mean, maybe it's not even feasible to get massive DLC updates just by scanning an Amiibo to unlock digital purchases will still be worth doing for Nintendo, but if there were a way to even just have Amiibos offer small discounts on future content not available on the cartridge, then I'm sure it'd at least lead to selling way more Amiibos, and if you could even have Amiibos unlock one update per figure, then it could possibly lead to even more DLC being downloaded. I mean, I know damn well that nobody even minds buying digital updates without physical benefits anyway, but all I'm saying is that it'd still be nice to have bonus collectibles as an optional way to access extra content. I mean, I know Smash Ultimate sells Amiibos and DLC separately, so it seems like Nintendo would be stupid to essentially give Amiibos away for free, but extra fighters only cost $6, whereas Amiibos cost about $16, and I'd imagine that way more people would actually buy them if they unlocked fighters in the game, rather than just buying the digital content without the figures, so I still think that Nintendo's ultimately leaving money on the table. Pun not originally intended, but I did write this out beforehand and chose to leave that line in there, so, you know, I suppose it was intended. But anywho, even if Amiibos only unlock non-essential cosmetic features that are already on the cartridge right off the bat, I still don't think Nintendo should phase them out entirely and stop supporting them in games. In fact, I even think it's kind of sad that most of the recent titles haven't really had much Amiibo support when they used to be a part of pretty much every game. I mean, how the frig are you not gonna have Amiibos play more of a role in Animal Crossing New Horizons? I know that the game kinda supports it, and I get that with all the Amiibos that exist, it'd be pretty daunting for developers to be expected to make content for every single one of them to work in their games, especially when more and more of them just keep coming out in the future. But still though, I just can't help but think of this as a missed opportunity to unlock totally unnecessary goodies for your island. I mean, even if scanning Amiibos in the game only gave you Amiibos on the island, I still think that'd be pretty cool. And what about Pokemon? I know it'd be way too much to release Amiibos for 807 different Pokemon, but given how much the franchise likes to milk us for every penny we're worth, you'd think they'd at least make Amiibos for the starters and legendary Pokemon in each generation from this point forward. I don't know what kind of content they can unlock, since it'd be weird to just give you Pokemon or the scanned Amiibos that are already in the games to begin with, but maybe they could be used to unlock some sort of special moves or something, I don't know. I'm just saying it's a huge missed opportunity is all, and for companies that love money so much, I feel like Nintendo and Game Freak sure are leaving a lot of money on the table by backing off on Amiibos. Again, I'm not saying that this should be the only way to acquire exclusive content that should just be in the game right off the bat, but I just think even small stuff like extra meat, weapons, and tunics in Breath of the Wild make me not regret having way too many Amiibos a little less. And for the life of me, I just can't understand why Nintendo would want to phase this out and make future games a little bit less cool. Forget first-party games, what about third parties? I mean, what better way is there to entice third-party developers to support Nintendo consoles than by letting them make their own Amiibos that add a little oomph to their Switch games, regardless of whether they're multi-plats or Nintendo exclusives? I don't know about you, but I think it'd be pretty badass to have Amiibos for Doomslayer or Cuphead. In a perfect world, I'd rather have full games with all the bonus content be available on cartridges on day one without requiring any updates or patches or anything like that. But you know what, if they're gonna charge for DLC or make games cost $10 more in the next generation anyway, then I'm just saying that I'd prefer to at least have something physical to show for it is all. But anyway, what do you think? Should Nintendo phase Amiibos out altogether? Should they keep them strong? And if you do think they should keep them strong, do you think they make a nice bonus for DLC? Or do you just want your digital content without having any clutter? Either way, let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, I'll try my goddamnedest to respond to everybody at some point. But let me tell you, if there's two people who deserve their very own Amiibos, then it would definitely be today's patrons of the day, Israel Basarios and the Stiff Islands. If you want to be badasses like these two, then consider supporting FU Game Crew on Patreon for loot boxes and silly rewards in the mail. Send pictures or videos of you rocking merch if you want to make cameos in my videos, and follow me on Twitch if you ever want to hang out whenever I play video games sometimes. My name's CameronAllOneWord, and I'll see you next time.
So I want to say thank you to your loyalty, thank you for your support.